There's been an epidemic of women being groped on trains in Japan. So now the Japan Times is reporting that there is a campaign against groping. The statistics in the story are incredible, okay? 1,800 men were arrested for groping women on trains. In 2004, a survey of Tokyo women in their 20s and 30s, 64% of them said that they've been groped on a train.
Yeah, look, this epidemic's been around for a long time in Japan, as a lot of us know. But 64% of the women being groped in their 20s and 30s is an enormous number.
Yeah, it's huge.
It's huge. 2/3 of the women, basically, right? And only 2% have reported it. So imagine they arrested 1,800 guys with only 2% of the women reporting it.
Right.
If 100% reported, geez, Lord mercy, think about it.
And what's insane about this story is there are how-to websites in Japan that teach gropers how to grope and get away with it.
Does somebody need to be taught that? I mean, how do you grope?
No. I'm sure they know how to grope, but grope and get away with it, that takes a little strategery.
Yeah, okay. Here's my guess as to how that strategery works. Groper, and then as soon as the subway opens, run.
Man, I'm going to get so much hate for making this comment, but Japan sounds scary to me. Because I would take trains definitely if I was in Japan, right? And at 64%, I mean, it's very likely that I'm going to get groped. Like, why is it so prevalent in Japan?
You know what, though? They might think that Western women are more assertive, and they might be a little afraid.
Oh, I'll slap that ass.
Well, they might be happy with that. Okay.
That came out so wrong.
Right.
I'll slap them in the face. That's what I meant.
Okay. No, that might be a concern for them. Okay.
Right.
Seriously. But here was the scary part of the story for me. Apparently, one of the things that they do is they sniff the hair, they touch the hair.
They chew the hair.
They chew the hair. I mean, that takes groping to a whole new level. I mean, that ain't groping, that's chewing.
This makes having a sexual relationship with an inanimate object much more normal.
I mean, because that's the other story we covered from Japan, where they're all having, not all, tiny minority, but apparently a minority that shows up
Right.
Having sex with dolls, right? And sometimes a lot of dolls. But, better that than chewing on a woman's hair in a subway.
Right.
Jeez, Lord. Yes,
Is this, I'm not sure which country also we talked about, the cell phone pictures, right?
Upskirts.
Underskirts. Which country is this from?
That's also Japan. Oh. Look. Of course, look, I have many Japanese. Some of my best friends are Japanese. Okay, so of course it's not all Japanese, and it's different in Japan than it is for Japanese Americans as well, of course, right? These are all of courses. Having said that, and America has its own issues, etc. Like the guy we just talked about on Facebook trying to have sex with his daughter. Okay, every country has its own issues. Having said that, these are significant issues for Japan. This is not the first time that it's come up, right? And they got to get this groping thing under control. And I'll tell you how they handle it in other countries. And I'm not saying you should handle it this way, but look, I was thinking about it. I was like, why is there no groping, for example, in Turkey, right? And, in other ways, there's, an environment that could, of repression, et cetera. Not government repression, but sexual repression, et cetera. I thought maybe it's possible there, so why doesn't it happen? Because if a guy groped a woman on a bus in Turkey...
He'd get killed. Oh,
he would get his ass beat so bad. I mean, you want to talk about throwing somebody under the bus. Okay? I mean, that might be literal in that case. Well, and look, Japanese men, you got to stand up for your women. And if some, nasty perv is chewing on their hair, you got to do something. I mean, don't you guys know Ninja? I'm playing.
And also,
but seriously, I mean, you got to regulate to some degree. I'm not calling for vigilante violence here. Then we'll show that video on next week's episode of the Young Turks. But at some point, you got to draw the line and say you can't do this to women.
Right. And these women need to stand up for themselves and go tell the authorities that they've been groped. Or find a way to, grab the guy and take him to the authorities. You got to stand up for yourself as well.
Yeah, look, I'm afraid in saying all that stuff because then it's going to encourage violence, right? And I don't want to do that. But at some point, the community as a whole has to draw the line, right? Whether it's that particular subway train or whatever. And, it's just maybe it's just a matter of grabbing the guy until the cops show up. But you got to help your sisters out. Okay? We're trying to help here with helpful advice.